Winsonly Lifestyle, you know what it is, your boy David Rush. Welcome back to another episode, man. So glad to have you guys back here. Make sure you follow me online at David Rush Speaks. Make sure you go shop at winsonlylifestyle.com, get you some Wins Only gear. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, the YouTube, the podcast itself. Thank you to all my subscribers, man. All those who've ordered Every Day's a Win t-shirts. Go get you an Every Day's a Win t-shirt right now at winsonlylifestyle.com as well. We're doing a thing right now. If you order a t-shirt or you order a sweater or a hoodie, matter of fact, you get a free gift along with your purchase. So yes, I'm giving away some free stuff. Everybody likes free, so I'm saying it. Free. Go get a hoodie. I'll see your order come in and I'll send you a gift along with your hoodies. And as you know, all my subscribers, when you subscribe, you get a free gift in the mail anyway. So I'm giving out a lot of free stuff. So thanks to everybody that's tuned in, who's been sharing this. I'm getting a lot of love on here, man, and I really appreciate you guys. And today, hopefully, will be no different. And before we start, I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. I'm not none of that. I'm a guy who's been through some things and speaks on what he knows. If you're having any issues with any of the topics that we cover here on Winsonly Lifestyle, make sure you go see a doctor, talk to a professional, and get the help that you need to help you live the best life that you can. Today we got a very special episode in the studio today. I have I would consider one of my best friends, man, more like a brother to me. I wanted to interview him because over the last 2 years has really been, well, longer than that, but over the last 2 years was more a traumatic time for him, dealing with a lot of things concerning his health. We have a lot of talks. We've toured together. We've done music together. He's produced a lot of my records. And he has been at a lot of my shows, the whole tour with Pitbull and everything. He was my tour DJ, and we've been rocking for a very long time. He's a very close friend of mine. I can't wait to share his story with you guys. I really think it's going to be able to help somebody out there that may be dealing with the same thing. For me, this story is going to be about triumph, comeback, and what it takes to really live a wins-only lifestyle, to change a mentality to change your life. So bringing you guys to the studio today, my good friend, my brother, Lnino, a.k.a. DJ Lnino. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out him, Clue Cat. What is it? Q claps. Nino, what's good, my brother?
What's going on, David? Or Mr.
Hey, man.
Rush. I call you Rush.
You call me whatever you want, bro. You know what I mean? This is just a cordial conversation between two brothers, man. It's so good to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking time out, man, to rock out with me.
Thank you for having me, man. I always enjoy our talks anyway. So, now that
it's another platform to do it on, right?
Yeah, man.
We always said we need to record these talks anyway. So this is kind of to come into, full circle, whatever the case may be, man. I wanted to get into this conversation with you, man. This is the Winsonly Lifestyle podcast. As you said, we do talk a lot. We share a couple things in common. We talk about, the loss of our parents, losing your mom, who I got to meet and have lunch with my family, and hearing my son curse for like the first time in your kitchen.
That's very true.
Yeah. And I never got the chance to really meet your dad. I don't think I ever met your father.
No,
I never got to meet your father. I think he came over from Puerto Rico, right? Afterward. Colombia. Sorry about that. Yes. I never got to meet him, but we talked about him, me losing my dad as well.
Yes.
In our family orientation, things of that. Plus, we've toured together, spent many nights on the road together, and really got to bond as brothers, man. So it's good to have you here. As you know, this is a podcast mostly dealing with health conditions. Before, it was mostly working on kidney health, but a lot of health conditions are related. And I wanted to get you on here to share your story. First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do it. I know a lot of people who have been through stuff don't really like sharing their stories or whatever the case may be. But when I asked you about it, you was like, yes, if it can help somebody, I want to do it. And I want to say, first of all, publicly, that's very commendable. And thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Everything's on limit. Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go, we're here to do it today. First off, give me a little bit of your background. Let everybody know where you're from, where they can find you online, all that type of good stuff. And then, let's just get into a little bit of the story.
Well, once again, as Rush said, my name is Lnino, Lnino. I'm not afraid to put my government out there. It's all good. I go by DJ Lnino, born in born and raised in New Jersey. Currently residing in California. On my new journey, I grew up small town. Small town, man, just surrounded by a lot of music. Music runs in my blood. My dad, big record collector, owned a couple clubs in Colombia, big salsa head, then have my mother, born in Puerto Rico, one of the founders of salsa, so
and a great cook at that.
Great cook, definitely, man, definitely that runs on both sides, man. All amazing cuisines, so grew up on good food, good music, good people, good loving people, had great, come from a small family, but they make you feel like
big hearts, big family, big heart. So, we talking about culture, right? Being that the Puerto Rican, Colombian culture, the Spanish culture overall is a very, very loving culture. And speaking of cuisine, we love to cook. We love to cook. We love to eat. Spanish families always want to make sure that you eat 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. We love our carne, the meat,
we love our frituras.
The rice, the banana, heavy starches and all that type of stuff. And it's like a cultural thing for us. So, we're going to focus in on that a little bit because in a way, sometimes it could be a gift and a curse. Certainly. Being culturally the way that we eat can affect a lot of things in our lifestyle down the line. Ever since you met you, like me, we've always struggled and talked about our weight. We've always struggled and talked about our diet, the way that we eat, how we're trying to cut down. I'll call you like, yo, I walked today or whatever the case may be. And we'll try to just talk each other about how we're dealing with weight. I've always fluctuated in my weight and always dealt with being overweight, losing the weight, gaining the weight back, taking medication that makes me gain weight, and then fighting to lose that weight again. Now, it's always been a struggle in my life. Have you struggled with issues like that as well?
Definitely. Man, for the most part, I could say that I've been a big boy all my life. When I was when I was a child, like literally, 5, 7 years old. I was a skinny kid, but my mom used to worry about me because I didn't eat enough.
Of course.
So eventually I just got hooked, I guess.
You ate enough after.
And we would I remember like as a little kid we went to Puerto Rico and my mom left us there for a month with my grandma. And no lie, within a 2-month span I came back 30 pounds heavier because my grandma would wake us up with like not just a small bowl of cereal, like it'd be like between me and my brother we could probably split damn near half a gallon like milk and then came lunch, whatever it was, and it's always something heavy, it's never anything light.
But were you active though as a kid? Was you active in those times, like outside running around, riding a bike?
That's one thing for sure, that I was a big boy, but I definitely was active. We come from a time where going outside playing football on the street was a thing. I didn't have my cell phone. So I was always definitely being outside. My dad would take us to the park, go ride bike. And I would I was always interested in basketball, football. I played a little football. And
you play in high school at all?
I didn't play high school. I played like middle school.
Pop Warner middle school, stuff like that.
Midget football.
Okay.
Yeah,
street ball. What I'm saying?
Did some after school basketball programs. I used to play with teachers in the morning.
Fire.
But yeah, I definitely was an active kid. That's for sure. I was.
So you're active, your family's feeding you, you're eating well. Let's fast forward a little bit. We get into, the end of middle school. We're going into high school a little bit. We're really diving in. We come from a music background, music family. You find your first turntables, right? How I see the background, I see the turntables in the back, I see the speakers in the back. How does this become a part of your life, and how does it affect your life from this point when you first realize, man, this is something that I love to do and something that I may want to continue to do? Did you think it could be a career when you first touched the tables, and what effect did it have on your life? You know, negatively, positively, what did it do for you?
So, you know, a lot of the DJing really came from influence, you know, seeing my brother pick up some vinyl, throw down. His friends were DJs. You know, I eventually caught the bug, started going behind his back, running through his records,
right?
Messing up my dad's needles, you know, and then, you know, kind of just like fast forward, you know, got into the DJ scene and went from like clubs, lounges, but then eventually got into like the more business aspect of it, which started doing more of like the birthday parties. Now we're doing weddings, whatever it is.
Right.
And I mean, DJ affected me in a major way, you know, affected just my social life, you know. I've always been, you know, like I've been shy, but people that know me, you know, I'm
you got a goofy side to you, yeah.
Laugh, man. You know, but I've always kept, you know, to myself, and I felt like through DJing and through music, because before I was DJing, I would go to parties and I would dance, you know, and then eventually I took it to that I was on the opposite side of it, you know. I was the one providing the music.
You was the one making everybody dance.
I was the one making everybody dance.
And what did that do for you? I know that's a certain feeling, because being a performer, watching people enjoy your music, it does something to you. Like it's an effect, you know what I'm saying? So like, what did it do for you?
It built up my confidence.
Right.
Sure. You know, knowing that I have the ability to make people feel good, you know, and they make me feel good, you know, when they come up to me like, hey man, you know, like, you had me going, like, I loved your set,
right?
You know, and then at the same time, you know, I was able to make money, you know, and that's when I felt like, okay, like,
this could be something. This could be something.
Like I could actually, you know, like buy myself some gear, you know, and you know, whatever it is, whatever the case, you know, I had just got, you know, my license, and once I got my license, I'm able to fill up my dad's car with gas, you know.
Right.
So it's definitely, I think it impacted my life in the beginning, and I mean, it definitely had a positive
impact on your life. So from there, we're DJing now. We're making a little money. We're doing well. We get to the point where, like, as a DJ, I know you guys are on your feet a lot.
Yeah.
You're DJing for hours at a time.
Yeah.
You're doing weddings. You're kind of eating whatever the catering is. If you're doing a party, you're hoping they got food for you guys. Hoping somebody brings you something to eat.
Yeah.
Whether it be pizza at a kid's party,
right.
Whatever it is, like you're just, that's like part of the payment is to, you know, to feed the DJ, because he's there for like 4 to 6 hours,
exactly,
providing a service,
exactly,
right? So at this point, you know, like when I met you, we both were big dudes. I was struggling at that time too. I think I was in the 400s. Honestly, I was a big cat, but I was tall.
Right.
So everybody, oh, you wear it well. You know, I you know, this day, like I hate that. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, but I feel what people be saying, because I'll see a big dude and they tell me their weight, and I'd be like, no way. Like, oh wow, like I would never think you were that, you know, that weight.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you wear it well. I've said it a couple of times, but at the same time, being on the, you know, people, hey, what's up, big man? And all, like, oh my God. Like for me, it was like a pet peeve to hear that all the time. And I would have days when, you know, being in front of crowds, we're performers, right? You DJing, me performing in front of the crowd. I was a little, even though I have confidence in myself, I would be a little bit worried about how people saw me. You know what I mean? Like, cause I'm putting myself in front of the world, to be seen, and I'm this big dude. And in that time, big dudes wasn't really in yet. I mean, Biggie was out and stuff like that, but we wasn't it yet. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't sex symbols. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit difficult for me in the beginning mentally, to deal with the way I looked and size wise, I would in my own time deal with it a little, a little bit of depression, like, and self-confidence would be down. Have you ever dealt with that, being a bigger guy and, knowing that I look a little different than the normal man? You know what I'm saying? Like, what, have you ever dealt with that type of issue yourself?
Man, I mean, coming from, I'm sure in all cultures, like, we have like, especially in the Colombian culture, right? They'll see somebody who's a heavier set, and they'll say, in Spanish, they'll say, "Este se termina la sopa." So, and, it means like, oh, this guy finishes his soup.
Basically. Right. Oh yeah, like he cleans the plate.
Yeah, he cleans the plate.
Right.
So I've always, definitely, man, that's something that I've always dealt with as a kid, man.
Right.
Like, growing up, whether it's like whatever, hey, what's up, big man,
right.
But yeah, that's definitely something I've always dealt with in many forms, certainly, people have always
we hate that,
never shied away from letting me know
that I was big,
that I wore a bigger tee than they did.
Yeah, right. And so let's get into that, right? We're at the time where, you spoke about, us touring and stuff, and
yeah,
we work about us, doing this full time and working full time and everything like that. And we get to a point where we are finishing up the tour. We get back. I went on another tour. I went to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't able to come in that one because that was like a last minute thing for me to go. I was wishing you guys could have came, but we did do like a 50 city tour.
Oh yeah,
together,
man.
Which was amazing. I did 14 cities in Canada with Pitbull, which is amazing. We get back, right? And I'm on this health kick. I get my kidney, we do all that stuff, and everything is well. Let's fast forward to about maybe a couple years ago. I know you lose your mom.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2014.
2014, you lose your mom. Man, I can't believe it's been that long already.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to moms. Rest in peace. You lose your mother. What impact? And I know it sounds like a stupid question to ask, but
nah, it's not.
What impact does it have on you behind closed doors? Which is different from what it is outside closed. People see me, I lost my mom. You know what I mean? 2012, I want to say.
I remember it wasn't too far.
Yeah, it was right before your mom.
Yeah.
And people would ask me, how are you doing? I would always have the politically correct answer for them.
Right. Yeah.
But behind closed doors, I was distraught. You know what I mean? I was lost, bro. You know what I'm saying? What about you? What was your effect when you lost your mom?
One of the hardest things, like before I even lost my mother, right, was always how to approach somebody that loses a parent. Right. Because, and I'm not knocking anybody that says I'm sorry or my condolences. It's like, I just have a way of thinking where I'm like, I don't know what that feels like.
Right.
And death hasn't happened too much in my family,
right.
So I had lost a cousin of mine who I like really looked up to, and I didn't even, like, I didn't cry. I didn't really even feel like an emotion, like, and it's not that I didn't love him,
Yeah,
like
you didn't know how.
My brain wasn't processing it right.
Right.
And when you lost your mom, it's like, man, like,
yeah, because we were close.
What do I even say to him? What do I say to him? Like, and when it happened to me, I was like, man, oh, now I get it.
Right.
Like, now I know
you can relate.
Like,
you can relate.
And I mean, my mother, she dealt with a lot of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at my mom, and as we all look at anybody we love or we care about, like we feel like everybody's gonna live forever, right?
Right. We want them to at least, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when somebody's in the hospital, get sick, the last thing you ever think about is really them dying, unless you're just like really putting that in your brain,
Right. Yep. Giving that energy
So
to it. Mm-hmm.
I always looked at my mom like a soldier, you know what I mean? So like I'm like, she got taken down, but she gonna be back up again.
Right. What
So
were some of the health things that your mom was facing?
she was dealing with diabetes, she had gout, uh,
Mm.
um, high blood pressure, she had AFib,
Mm.
she had a defibrillator. Um, man,
She was fighting. So she was fighting a lot of things going there. Now you seeing that.
yeah.
Did you ever feel like, oh man, this guy, I can be put in this position one day? Or did you just be like, I just hope I don't go in this position one day?
I don't think I ever wanted to even face it, like to even like admit that I could possibly come across it, like
Right.
I've always like in my head I was probably like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna allow myself to get to that.
Right.
That's the whole like
The
put it off
denial.
for
And
tomorrow. Let me put it
yeah.
off for tomorrow.
So you
Yeah.
wasn't an avid person to go get checked up. You wasn't avid to go get check your
Uh,
blood pressure and
and like most people, right? They're afraid of the doctor.
right.
Oh, they're afraid of the dentist,
Right.
So to me, it's like as long as I was okay, as long as I felt okay, I was okay.
Right. So you just deal with it kind of till it comes, and if something comes, then you'll deal with it then. And
Exactly.
so I know I talk to a lot of patients about that part, being proactive in your health, right? I was kind of the same way where I never wanted to go see a doctor, never wanted to go to the hospital, but at the
Yeah.
same time, we would kind of, if things would happen to our body, we would kind of find an excuse to say why it's happening to us. Like, oh, I always had this headache when I wake up, or my leg
Right.
always hurts like this until I walk a little bit, then it straightens out later. And we
Yeah.
find these ways to like get past the actual feeling of being in pain or our body screaming to us
Yeah.
that's something wrong, right? So after your mom passes away, I'm sure there's a bit of depression. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a heaviness. You're now literally the man of the house.
Yeah.
Your dad comes. Your
What
dad, right? One has your dad comes now
Right.
to
My dad.
to live with you.
Yeah, he comes to live with us.
Now, is he in good health or is he facing
No,
anything?
he was older than my mother, excuse me.
Mhm.
So he was, in his 70s, and I had actually had seen him in Colombia in 2012, because he was pretty sick. He had stomach issues that he was dealing with. But he was a little healthier, but he was older. My dad wasn't as active. He worked, and once he retired, he kind of
Chilling.
collected his pension, and he was just chilling. You
Right.
know, and he had knee surgery, he had knee replacement, and
Mm.
he wasn't as active, in therapy and stuff like that. So it kind of hurt him in a way to make
Right.
him less active. So when he came to live with me, yeah, he wasn't as healthy
Right.
as he was.
So in between of your dad coming to live with you and your mom passing away, what is your coping mechanism for that journey of losing your mom? How did you find yourself now that you can look back at yourself more of like
Yeah,
a reflective in life and you're not in the moment no more and you can kind of
yeah,
deal with it and talk about it?
yeah.
What did you, if you can say now, because at the time you don't know it, you don't understand that you're coping a certain way.
Right.
I would do things like I would go to treatment or whatever. And on my way back from dialysis treatment, I would stop at McDonald's
Mm,
and I would pick up I would just say, I'm going to go get a nugget or I'm just going to get a fry real quick, knowing
right.
that my wife has prepared a whole meal
Yeah.
at home to
Right.
have dinner in the
Yeah.
next 30 minutes. But for some reason, I stop at this McDonald's and I would get I would say I'm going to go get a fry,
Right.
but I would get like a Big Mac.
Yeah.
And I would like down it before I got home and
Yeah.
stop. stop and dump off the evidence before I got in the house. Come in, and my wife would have a plate of food ready for me. You know what I'm saying? Just as a good wife, making sure I ate after treatment. And I can't say no, because then she'll know that I ate already.
Right.
So then I eat.
Yeah.
On top of that, and then I'm going to bed on this. And I felt myself just gaining. And I felt so disgusted. I would cry sometimes, like on my own.
Right.
Until I literally had to admit to her what I was doing. Did you ever have any instances where you like use food as a super coping mechanism? Now that you can look back, like what was some of your coping mechanism when you lost your mom?
Yeah. So when I lost my mom, I had a great support system, and definitely on the outside, I always tried to stay optimistic and happy.
Right.
But on behind closed doors, yeah, man, I was suffering, man. I had lost my best friend.
Right.
Me and my mom spent so much time together, because it was really me and her for a while. My brother had moved to California to kind of, set himself up and find himself, so being at home, when my mom, we got to spend a lot of time together. So when she wasn't here anymore, it was tough, man. It was tough. I was lost, I was lost. And yeah, I mean, food definitely was a coping mechanism. More than anything, really, I was soda guy.
Yes.
Like I love soda. Like I tell everybody that I talk to, I was the type of person that I'd rather not eat and have a soda. If I had to choose one or the other, I'd rather have a soda than have some food.
Right.
That would. So, I mean, it was, and now she's not around, so it's like I don't even have to hide it from her. So now I can.
You were hiding stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I would go through the same thing too. With my mom. She'd be cooking. And I would go and buy McDonald's too. And I would just chill in the parking lot. And go grab
down it and then come home and eat her dinner.
And then I would go have her food again.
Yeah.
And I would do the same thing. I throw away all the evidence. Make sure I'm okay. I remember one time I was on my many journeys of trying to lose weight.
Right.
And I remember I went to the mall, to the food court, and I went and I'm like, I'm gonna have a slice of pizza. And they gave me the pizza, right? And it was so hot, the cheese burned my lip. And I was saying that, and I'm like, I'm like, this is the evidence.
My lip burnt. I mean, she gonna see my lip.
Got cheese.
Oh my god.
And I remember all like telling me like, oh, what happened to you? I was like, I don't know. I think I kind of cut myself or something like that. Like
the guilt. You couldn't even say I had a slice of pizza because you knew you was wrong as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so crazy. And so you're hiding stuff. You're finding yourself dealing with your mom passes away, so you're eating to cope. You're eating to cope, still keeping a good outside smile, but inside you're going through it.
Yeah.
Then we fast forward and we lose your dad.
Now I lose my dad.
So now you're hit with another wave again of losing a parent at that. So when you lose cousins, not that it's less or whatever the case.
No, I thought it was gonna prepare me.
Right.
Now I'm prepared. And when the day that my mom passed away, I was actually DJing. And I got the call while I was at the gig. And so I had to leave. I had my friend Eli, kind of take over. But I remember, she was in Morristown, and I was literally like 20 minutes away from Morristown hospital. And yeah, I was on my way. And so with my dad, he died of liver cancer.
Okay.
For him, which that was like, my mom, even though she was going through what she was going through, that was like instant to me. It's like she passed.
Right.
Dad was like, I actually even though I was seeing the process, right? Like she had her thing, but I literally saw my dad go.
Deteriorate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
my mom, I was there for 5 weeks and watch her go
Yeah,
from point A to point Z.
I
Like,
remember, I take my dad to the doctors. They're like, oh, he has like a fatty liver. We take him to the hospital, get some checkups. All of a sudden, like they literally like pick up. I get a phone call. Hey, this is such and such from the cancer center.
mm.
So it's like they told me without even telling me.
Yeah,
You know,
they ain't even give you no time. They didn't set it
yeah.
up at all.
And they're like, listen, due to his age, like it wouldn't be smart to do chemo because he's probably gonna just,
It'll
you know,
kill him.
yeah, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna die immediately. And so I remember them telling like, oh, they put him in like a nursing home, that would take care of him,
Make him comfortable, like a
make him
hospice.
comfortable. Yeah, and then eventually it was getting so bad that they brought him to the hospital again, and they're like, all right, we keep treating him, or and I had to sign like hospice papers that
Sheesh.
to me felt that was definitely like something I'll never forget. I felt like I was signing death papers.
Right. I mean, in
Yeah, I mean,
actuality, you kind
yeah,
of are. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Kind of making it okay for him to. This is
right,
what we're gonna do. No DNR. Like
exactly.
he's gonna pass away. So you get through. Your father passes away. Not
Yeah,
as really like you're grown up, but now you ain't got no parents. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's like for
yeah,
me, like being grown but still having my mom around, I was still like my mom was still around, so I still wasn't like all the way grown up yet. So like when my mom
right.
and dad passed, I felt like I had to like now I'm grown up. Now my decisions are all falling on me. You know what I'm saying? And now
Yeah,
I have my wife, now I have kids, and now I gotta really be an adult. You know what I'm saying? For real, because I have nobody to answer to. I don't have a
yeah,
mom and dad to kind of sit there and tell me, yo, that's really not good to do, or hey, I want you to do this. Like it kind of takes that element of a ceiling away, and your parents are gone. The year is 2020. We're now in the COVID era, right? We hit COVID. Everybody's home. I know for me and my kids, like COVID time. You heard that beat? Oh, that was me. COVID time for me and my kids, you know what I mean? It was a different time. It was confusion. It was a lot of stuff worried about me because of my health, not knowing if, being in center, I wasn't doing home dialysis yet. I was still in center. And my doctor's begging me to go home. I knew I kind of had COVID before COVID shut the world down. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
In the house. So you got a lot of time. You got a lot of time to just sit around and do nothing. And I find myself now, if I'm home doing nothing, I'm snacking. And I'm wanting to eat more, and I feel like, oh my god, like I'm eating too much. But then
yeah.
on a little workout kick, I started riding my bike. I ordered a bike, and I was riding like I remember I would call you, and I'll be on a bike, doing the tour,
Oh yeah, definitely.
crazy trying to lose, and it was helping me. But I'll have kicks where I'll work out, and then I won't. Then I'll stop, and then I'll stop for like mad long. Like I can't. I don't know how people go to the gym and be so thrilled to go. I hate. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a guy.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll be embarrassed to go to the gym because I'm not where everybody else is in the gym. And I feel like I'm the worst one in the gym, like size
hmm
wise and stuff like that. And it messes with me mentally a little bit. So we get to that point of COVID, and we're talking about how this is when me and you started struggling a little bit with your weight, like a
yeah,
little more than usual.
yeah,
And I think it was getting harder for you. I think your legs were starting to swell up a little bit and stuff like that. And it's getting hard for you to move around a lot.
yeah,
And I was just trying to like, I would be on the phone with you, man, almost like, yo, just go outside and like just walk, like just get yourself together. And you would be like, yeah, I'm about to go. And I knew you'd be capping me, bro. I knew you'd be capping me, but I was just so eager to be like, bro, I just don't want to see you get sick like me.
yeah,
I don't want you to be on dialysis. I don't want your kidneys to fail. And I almost like plead with you a little bit. And I know that was some of the roughest times for you, man, because you was dealing with some things mentally that you kind of was, hint to with me on the phone, but you wouldn't fully get into. I knew you was dealing with stuff, so I was checking on you a lot. Where was your head at during that time, and what was drowning you in that time?
Um, it's there's so much, man, because I had lost both of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I had my, my girlfriend at the time. That was definitely. It felt like she was the one I was putting like everything into, because she
Right.
was the one closest around me, and she was the one that was always around me.
Right.
So being with her, it's like, oh, get to catch up on movies and eating.
A lot of downtime. A lot of
Not a downtime, and since really I was, hands down, I became like just real too comfortable with my situation. Because I was DJing, and I was only really DJing maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I were to get that, that kind of business at
right.
once,
Right.
sporadic, maybe a Monday or Tuesday,
So money's slowing down. You're not
So,
as busy.
I
Right.
was always, but even before COVID,
Okay.
like I was, not doing enough for myself,
Mm-hmm.
as so to me it's like, yeah, I'm making my money to pay my bills and things I need. This is all I need, and so
Right.
now I like, that's for me, that was good enough, like if I felt
Content.
like I earned it, right?
Yeah.
I worked this weekend. Now I can just chill Monday through Friday,
Right.
or
Right. Right.
I'm DJ again,
Yeah.
and then when COVID happened, and now everything's really slowing down, and I would say the world's sick,
Right.
so now there's definitely not any parties going on. Now I go from going out on the weekends to now going out at all.
Right. And what
My
is that? How is that messing with you mentally? I mean, I know financially it's a little tougher. Physically, you got a lot of downtime to sit around,
Yeah,
eat, chill. Mentally, what is it doing to you?
mentally it's just clouding my brain, man. Like I'm just on autopilot.
Mm.
I wake up, go on my computer, music, I'm making music, so that I always felt like me being productive,
Was enough. Yeah, it was enough.
it
Like,
was
yeah,
enough.
I did something today. Like, I
Did
did something
something
today.
today,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I would get my calls, I would get calls from you, I would get calls from my brother, I would get calls from my close circle of friends. And it was always a lot of questions of, hey man, what'd you do today?
Right.
And like I would try to like make up something like, oh yeah, I was running errands,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
cleaning the house,
Right.
working on music. Oh, I got some editing to do,
Right.
and then it'd be like,
Wanting to seem busier than you
yeah, trying to
really
stay
were.
busier than I really was.
Right. So
You
you
know,
get to that point where you're like, now you're, I hate to say this because I was one of the people. Now you're like lying to your friends.
that's exactly the way I was.
Yeah, because you're hiding.
I'm hiding from myself.
Right. Right. You're
That's
hiding from yourself, which
I,
is the scariest thing. Because I always talk about loving yourself, but people often hide from themselves too because it's hard to face your truth,
sure,
especially when you're by yourself, and especially when you have nobody to hold you accountable. It's so easy to,
yeah,
to hide from you because there's no one there to check you. You know what
and
I'm saying? Like,
truly, you know, and I speak truthfully when I say this, man. Not even that worked. Not
mm,
even that works.
mm,
Because as they say, man, if you don't want it, nobody's, as much as people want it for you, if you don't want it, you can't do it.
can't.
And that's exactly what it was. Like, I may have not wanted to admit it to myself at the time.
Mm-hmm,
Well, I just didn't want it. Like, there wasn't, like I said, I wasn't, even though I was slowing down, my
mm-hmm.
body was slowing me down. But as long as it's like, it's almost like, oh man, well, as long as I'm breathing,
I'm good. Yeah, a
it's
little bit was enough. A little bit was enough.
yeah,
So,
the threshold would just keep going, just keep
and
lowering.
but then you always say I'm all right because I'm still alive. So it's
All
like I
right,
can.
exactly.
So I invite you to Chicago.
Yep.
I'm doing a show in Chicago for a company I'm working for at the time. DJ Lnino is my tour DJ. Has been my DJ my whole career. I invite him to Chicago because I'm doing a corporate show and it's a 40-minute set. And of course, I can't do it without my DJ. So I invite DJ Lnino out. I feel it's going to be good for him to come out, get some air, get back on the set. The world's back open, quote unquote. And I'm like, dude, come to Chicago and DJ the set for me. We fly out together from Newark. We get to Chicago. I notice you moving slower, and I notice you having a hard time, and I hope you're okay with me
Not a problem.
expressing this. Hard time breathing, hard time walking a couple feet. And it's a big airport.
Right.
And we're meeting a car.
Yeah.
So we have to still get our bags and everything. Now, normally on a normal David Rush run, by the time I get off the airport, I'm in the car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're
10
out.
minutes. I'm out. We took about 30 minutes to get.
I mean, just to get probably
to the luggages. Yeah, just to the bags. And then maybe another 5-10 to get to the car. About 40 minutes to get out of the airport.
Yeah.
To me, that was the time I realized something's wrong with my friend. And I didn't want to talk about it there because we were there for a reason. And I didn't want that to be the casting over our trip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want us to, we were together. I wanted to have fun. Wanted to enjoy doing what we do best.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that stuff later.
Yeah.
We do the show. I know you're struggling standing for those hours. I know you are. So I remember bringing a chair over, like, yo, just sit down when you need to sit.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was worried because I know what it can lead to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Heart issues, kidney issues, diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes. I know where the story goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm worried about it. We finish the show. We go back to Jersey. Everything's cool. Immediately upon returning, I get at you about it. Dude, you didn't look good out there. What's up? We need to get you active.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to lean in a little bit harder on you about your health. Like, dude, because I seen it for myself.
Yes.
What's going through your mind with me as we're going? Because you kept apologizing to me. And I kept telling you, bro, it's all right, take your time. And I knew you felt bad about it.
Yeah.
I'm maybe a little embarrassed about it.
Definitely.
So when we get back, like, what is your thought process? You know what I'm saying? While all this is going on, like, you know, what were you feeling?
I mean, when I got home, I was like, I made it through. Like, I made it through. I've been, like I was able to. I'm
home.
Yeah.
All right.
But still, kind of like knowing, okay, man, I gotta get on this, man.
Yeah.
Get on this. But and things were happening. I was getting booked a little more.
Right.
But my friends, you, including you, obviously, are talking about how you noticed it, and my friends really started noticing it because they would see, I would go DJ and I wasn't able to really like set up the equipment. I had my friends that would, do it for me. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. Just worry about, just hang out. I got this. I'll load up, And so mentally, yeah, I'm feeling embarrassed. I'm self-conscious now, like I wouldn't even be upset if a gig got canceled. Sometimes I wish they canceled.
Right. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. You start talking about not going out and almost kind of, putting yourself in the concealing yourself from the outside world. What was that about? I mean, I know you talked about a little bit before, but you start to,
I've always had like my slight insecurity, but since I've always kind of been a big dude, like I've grown like tougher skin, and I feel like I'm able to move in rooms, regardless of being the bigger dude. you know. It's, you know, I was still active, but slowly as I started gaining the more weight, you know, now like, you know, I don't wear like my pants. You know, my dad would wear his pants where your belly button should be. You know what I mean? I rock on my waist, so now my belly's hanging out more. You know, I feel my clothes. I got like stretch them out now. You know, I'm going from a 2X to 3X to 4X. Now it's like now I need like a 5X, but now I need a 5X long because of my stomach, you know.
Right.
So
it's getting harder to hide.
Hard to get clothing.
Yeah.
It's right, you know, that looks good, you know, and I like dressing up, you know what I mean? You know, I like looking nice, you know, but now it's getting harder, you know.
So and that was my thing too, man. I used to hate that I couldn't get fresh when I was so big.
Like you know, at least like in a store, right? They at least you'll be lucky enough to find the 1X to 2X, but then once you start hitting the 3,
it's a very limited supply.
Harder, you know. Then it's 4, then it's like forget about it. Now we got to go online.
Yeah, now we got to go to Big and Tall and spend an extra $50 on a shirt.
And then that's when you start like, you know, I start like noticing. All right, well, I can't. Like now I got to know where these shirts are being made because 3X in Vietnam is in the 3X in US.
Yeah, you got it's so crazy how you got to start considering that.
So yeah, like there's a science behind, you know, being a big person, man.
Yeah.
There's all it's a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle, yeah, it is. So what is your breaking point? What is your lowest point where you say it's do or die for me? What transpires that at least turned on the light in your head that there's a serious problem here, and where maybe your lowest point before you go to the hospital, because you go to the hospital, we're going to get to that. But right before that, is there any point before that where something happens where you're like, this is I'm at the bottom of the pile right now?
Basically, that was when I was where I couldn't even walk like from my living room to my bathroom without huffing and puffing. You know, I would.
And how much are you at this time, if you don't mind?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know at the time. In my head, 380. That was always the number in my head.
That was your point.
Before I found out how heavy I was in the hospital,
right?
The last time I had even stepped on the scale, it was 380.
Right.
And so, like, to me, it was always 380.
Yeah, I'm 380.
How big I was.
Yeah.
If people were asking me that, I'd be like 380.
Yeah, 380.
380. You know, so, but, you know, we'll get to that. I'll tell you exactly
right.
In the hospital.
So your breaking point is when you can't get from your living room to your bathroom.
Yeah, from my living room, and you know, like it takes me 2 hours. I would leave myself a 3-hour period to get ready before a gig.
You had an upstairs bedroom.
It was a 2-family. I lived in a 2-family house that we converted into a 1-family.
Okay, so would you still go upstairs to your bedroom? What were you? So, you took your mom's room over that was downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is also kind of like, you know, another side of what was also kind of like on my shoulders was just the fact of now that I inherited, you know, the house, which fortunately my parents weren't able to have, you know, like life insurance. So I didn't just inherit the house, I inherited
all the bills and all the
financial, you know. So, and I don't know one thing about having a house, and
so that's stress. That's extra stress.
Exactly, you know,
mental
and
stress.
So, you know, how you had touched about this about like your mom, you know, like my mom, my parents, right? That was my safety net. You know, I was good, you know, so I didn't even think about living on my own, really, you know. And so when this came about, and you know, now the house it's an old house, things have to get fixed. Now my water heater's breaking, that costs whatever it costs to fix. So And so now I'm at the point where like it was messed up, man. You know, like my I had two bathrooms, one downstairs, one upstairs, and I would have my own bathroom. But then like eventually, like I didn't have any hot water because my water heater wasn't working. You know, so I was able to like brush my teeth, do whatever, use the bathroom, but I had to go take a shower upstairs. You know, so yeah, like I having to walk upstairs was a mission,
Right.
because I'd be just out of breath. And, like I said, I would give myself that 3-hour window just so I can shower and put on my clothes and breathe.
Right. So how do we get to the hospital?
Oh, so yeah.
How do we get there? What happens?
So what happened is that I got inflammation. I had inflammation in my groin area, and I was holding a lot of water. I wasn't using the bathroom properly, and so that led me to getting an infection, and I was, even then I thought like Tylenol would fix the problem. I'd be like, well, if the inflammation goes down,
let me take some Motrin. Motrin will help with inflammation.
Yeah, I'll be fine, And I remember like I would be like, I was sleeping even more because I felt sick, and I was like, my phone died. My brother was trying to get in touch. People were trying to get in touch with me, and they're like, yo, what's going on, man? Like, what's the problem? And then my brother was like, hey man, like what is going on, man? Like everybody's calling me, telling me that like, yo, you don't seem okay. Like what's, and I'm talking about, I'm like, I don't feel good, man. Like, there's a lot going on, man. I'm not right. I'm not right. And long story short, I found myself like on the ground at my house, not even being able to get up. And my friend was like, one of my friends was like, listen, if you don't go to the hospital tomorrow, I'm going to call the ambulance.
Right.
And the next thing came, he's like, where you at? I'm like, I'm home. And he's like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
You need to see somebody. And at that moment, my phone died. So now I'm like, oh my God, he's going to call the ambulance. Da-da-da. My brother calls a friend of mine, a friend of his, and he comes, and I was so bad that I was leaving my doors open.
Oh wow.
So people could just like walk in. So I didn't
have to go get the door. Yeah. Wow.
And he found me on the floor, and he's like, yo, I'm taking you to the hospital.
Wow.
And so I remember like, all right, just give me a minute. And it probably took me like an hour to find the strength to get up, because I felt this weight aside from my personal weight, like the inflammation was so bad that I couldn't get up. I could not get up. I remember it took me, like all my might, and he had to help me up. Like once I was up, I was able to move around, but still it was bad. And so that,
that was the turning point.
That was the turning point. That was definitely the turning point.
So then it sounds like that was one of your biggest losses, aside from losing your parents. Your biggest personal loss was at this moment where, like,
this is to me, that's
the rock bottom, right?
Rock bottom.
So let's fast forward again. Talking to you in the hospital, they're doing all these tests, they're getting you through.
Yeah.
You get your weight. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
You're surprised at this number. I'm surprised when you tell me this number.
I cried.
And then I'm pissed.
Yeah, I remember.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Once you hear these and you hear what could happen to you or what the effects of you are. So first I want to know, when you get there and they weigh you, they tell you your weight, your first initial reaction.
So when they weighed me, I saw the number 3 something, 3 something, right? So I'm like, oh, I am like 380 something. Right? So they had told me whatever. So now I'm in the hospital. They admit me. I'm in there for like a day or two, get cool with everybody, like all the other nurses that are taking care of me. And at that point, I was there for my inflammation, which then turned into respiratory, which that's what prolonged my stay.
Right.
But I remember asking the nurse, I'm like, hey, man, I'm like, what was my weight when I came in? And he's like, oh, all right. He's like, y'all check it out. You came in 559. And I just remember like that hit me. I was like,
right.
What did I do to myself?
Right.
I'm like, I let myself get this bad. And I cried. I cried right in front of him. And he's like, I think you had it seems like you had a breakthrough. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe I did this to myself.
Right. So you get told that, your mind is like, I can't believe I did this to myself.
Yeah.
Do you start to put together a plan in your head of how you're gonna
No,
get through this, or are you still defeated at this point?
At this point, I'm just like, it's not really like it hit me, but I'm not even thinking about like, all right, well, what are we doing from here?
Right.
My thing is just like, I'm thinking of just like, I just want to go home.
Yeah, I want to get out of here.
I'm in the hospital. I'm just like, I just want to go. I just want to go home.
Right.
And so yeah, that's so they're like,
you was ready to run and curl up and just
I was ready, just go home and probably still drink a cola.
Right. Yeah.
Even at that point, I hadn't even been to I've never been to the hospital before that. I've never been admitted. I don't have the last doctor I saw.
No history on you.
I was like 8 years old. So there's no medical history on me. So even though like I'm at, and I'm they're not giving me restrictive eating, I'm there. So I might have I'll have a ginger ale, still like having my fix.
Still cheating. Yeah, still cheating.
There, but yeah, so the inflammation, they're like, that's, they were telling me, that's really like a weight problem. You gotta lose weight.
Right.
But then I was about to be discharged and they had me on a CPAP machine, or they were checking my levels, and they're like, your oxygen level is like really, they're like, it's dangerously low. We can't let you go home.
All right. I remember you calling me and telling me that you were pissed.
So now this is where now one issue has led to
another severe issue.
Issue visible to me.
Which is your breathing now, which is what we need to survive.
Which to me, even though I was wheezing, I was still
I want to go.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I remember this happening like even years before. All of a sudden, I'll never forget. I was at a meeting with a client, and this lady goes to me. She's like, "Man, you breathe hard." And that even like started getting to me. I'm like, "Oh man!" And then same thing, through going before I went to the hospital, I was getting into fights with my brother because I would fall asleep on the phone. My brother, I would fall asleep on the phone with my friends, and it'd be like, "Hello." And I'm like, yo, and they're like, yo, you fell asleep. I'm like, nah. And they're like, nah. Well, what I say? Yeah. And then my brother be like, yo, you keep falling asleep on the phone. I'm like, I'm not falling asleep.
Just denial, like to
denial, man. I did not. Yeah.
You denied a lot. Yeah, I know you did. So we get so boom, we get through this, right?
Yeah.
We get through this. I remember you getting back home, and I remember asking you, like, now are you gonna take your life? I remember yelling at you in the hospital and telling you, yo, you either gonna get out of there alive or you're gonna die in there.
Yeah.
And I know that was really hard to hear.
Yeah.
And it was really coming from a place of love and like emotion. Like, I didn't know how to express myself. Like I cried. I was crying to you, like, bro, like you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, either you're gonna get out of there, bro, or they're gonna call me and tell me you're dead in there. It's
Yeah.
up to you.
Yeah.
Man, I remember like kind of hanging up and not calling you back for a minute. Like,
Nah, I was.
it was a minute, and like, because I was more. It's weird because I was like hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was hurt. Like,
It hurt me that I hurt you.
yeah. Like I was like, damn, my boy. Like, yo, we talk. Like, why you ain't come to me? Like, I felt like I had some responsibility, kind of like to be there, and maybe I did something wrong. And you know what I'm saying? Like it.
Yeah.
And then like when I heard you going through it, and I heard it from one of our mutual friends that you were even in there.
Yeah.
Which had me tight too. Like, how am I gearing this from this dude? You know what I'm saying? And so, I remember you calling me saying I'm out, and I remember asking you like, all right, you out? Like, what's the plan now? Like, what you got to have a plan, dude? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
And this is where your brother comes into play, and you come up with this plan that you're going to move to California with your brother.
Yes.
We're going back and forth about this, and this seems to be what you need, because you need accountability, you need somebody around you. That's just help you get better. Help you keep you accountable. You know what I'm saying? And
that's really what I was looking for sure.
And your brother is willing to step into that role. Thank God. What a big brother's for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get to Cali, right? Now I'm seeing you out and about with your brother, walking, boxing, movement.
Yeah.
You lost a lot of weight in the hospital. There was a lot of fluid on you that they got off you, which is like a lot of your weight, which is fluid weight. Then you started losing regular weight. Now from the 559 you were, now you're more active and moving around. The question I had before I asked you, like how much you're weighing, which you could tell me, or you don't have to tell me, but what motivated you to make a commitment to pursue a healthier lifestyle, and how did you find initial inspiration to start this journey?
What was the first part of that question?
What motivated you to make a commitment to pursue a healthier lifestyle?
Well, what motivated me was, I remember being in the hospital, and it was Memorial Day weekend, and that I was supposed to be discharged that weekend. They didn't let me go home. And I remember my room was in front of the hospital. So there was a huge window. I had a nice big window in front of me, and it's May, it's Memorial Day. It's outside, looks beautiful. I hear, and I'm right across from the nurses station. So I hear, it's like, oh, it's beautiful outside. I'm going to a barbecue this weekend, and I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm like, man, I want to go walk outside. And I couldn't, and they're like, and that really, I was like, yo,
it's like your freedom taken away almost.
Yeah. I've never, and I hope to never, but I've never been behind bars. But yeah, I felt like I was like locked up. I'm like, and it's the weekend, so I'm also on a cannula, so can only go so far as the cannula goes. I can only walk in my room. I could have a nurse take me and walk me around basically. But I hate bothering people, so I'm not gonna ask her that. And that's what we're like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna keep moving. Like I need to start moving more
to get right.
So
you get to Cali, you start getting right. You take a boxing, you starting to move around a lot more. We're moving our body up and moving. Where are we at now? Let's get to today. Where are we at now? What are we doing to continue the journey? What is our weight at? What are our goals? And how are we continuing to move forward in this journey?
So once I got here, my brother introduced me to his barber, who's also a boxing coach. He took me to his class, and I was really nervous at first because, like yourself, I don't like going to the gym. Aside from just feeling subconscious, about going to the gym, I guess eventually for me it becomes like boring to just go there and just walk on a treadmill.
Right.
You know, like, and you know, I would have friends also that like, hey, I'll go with you, but you know, that only it's like, well, we don't all get to have the same schedule, so
Right.
it's
Right.
not that way, right? So, but yeah, so then boxing, he introduced me to boxing classes, and I instantly like fell in love with it. Like I was very interested. Like here I am. Like I've always liked boxing, so it's something like, yo, man, I get to exercise my body, but I exercise my mind.
Right.
So I'm also learning a skill at the same time while working up a sweat.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so I've been doing that, and then also Cali is blessed with the weather. You know, so now it's like, well, even though I have a gym here in the complex I live in, it's like, well, if I'm gonna go walk in the gym for that, just go walk outside.
Right.
Plus, I'm getting fresh air. You know, live near the beach, so I can go. You
Get
know,
your toes wet. You know what I'm saying?
there's a pier. You know, they have a thing called, you know, where all the surfers go, and
Right.
they're there. But yeah, so doing that, doing boxing, and drinking a lot of water, because you know me and
Let's
water.
go. Let's
Water
go.
is my enemy.
Let's
Uh,
go.
even once a person gets to know me, such as David Rush, he got to know quickly. El Nino does not drink water.
No, he does not. But
Does
now
not.
he does.
But
Now
now
he
water
does.
is my best friend. You know, LaCroix are my new soda.
Right. Cut the
Um,
check. Cut the check.
but yeah, you know, and so right now I'm currently at 389,
Woo.
so
That's
170
what's up.
pounds.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Proud of you. So, what is your advice for anybody that be going through this type of thing? What can you offer up to let them know to kind of steer them in a direction if they're dealing with, I hate using this word, but you know, weight issues, obesity, whatever it may be, whatever they call it, the medical term for it. What is the first step that you would give someone that's facing this type of issue as well? What is some advice you would give back?
Um, I would say, you know, man, I would say, you know, I would look to surround yourself around people like that are maybe like-minded, and also that really want to see you grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I feel sometimes we need that kind of just that voice that'll be like, hey man, keep it up. You know,
Yeah,
like
that push. Yeah,
just
the encouragement. Just
yeah, that
encouragement.
encouragement. Yeah, you know, because
Mhm.
that's one of the things that really helps me. Was just knowing that I'm in a like boxing was the thing for me. I say that a lot to everybody. You
Safe
know,
environment. Put you in a safe
like yeah,
environment.
I'm in a place where I'm, you know, nobody's judging me. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
everybody's. If anything, I become a motivation to other people
Right.
because they see me continuing to grow. You
Right.
know, and also try to not too much put pressure on yourself.
Right.
You know, I, you know, I personally, you know, I'm not heavily religious, you know, but I do believe in God, you know. So to me, you know, I felt like I let myself kind of like I took accountability for myself, and you know, really reflected inside myself, and admitted to the things that I knew I was doing wrong,
Right.
which I think is also very important. But
Right.
also, you also like sometimes like let things happen, you know. You know, make better choices, but you know, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Let things kind of happen, um, and yeah, be have that. Try to find something or someone that just kind of gives you that push,
Motivation.
that motivation to keep you moving,
Right.
and know that there are other people that are really going through what you're going through,
Someone
and
got it worse than you. I say that all the time.
one guy's got it worse than you for sure.
Yep.
You know, and you find just find an outlet, man. Find you can find your people.
Right.
You know, because there's, and if not, man, create it yourself.
Right.
You know, one of the things that I found, like, you know, like a meetup, man, you know, like, hey, like I'm a person trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, man, like, let's go for a walk. Let's join me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Find people like you. Find your people so you can move together in the same direction from the same
yeah,
journey, and it'll help you, man. You could build each other up, man. So
really
like,
cool, man.
I really want to like thank you for sharing this journey with us. I know some people will be hard, but I know someone's gonna hear this and relate to this, and understand what it's like to be in that position and maybe not be open to talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So you stepping out is very commendable, man. I always tell you that. For anybody watching, man, I want you to be able to take care of yourself, be proactive with your health. You know what I'm saying? I think the biggest thing that I can offer you is to continue to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? To grow in yourself.
Yeah,
Every day I said in the last podcast, every day you look in the mirror, you should feel a little bigger, more spiritually, mentally. Doesn't have to be physically, but you should feel a little bigger, like you grew, like you're glowing. You should feel that glow change every day you look in the mirror. And that's just you loving yourself more. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I would say to you, my advice would be to you or to anybody going through this is to do that. Is to start there. Start with loving yourself, looking in the mirror and telling yourself you love yourself, holding yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying? Then surrounding yourself, like you said, with people who love you, people who care about you. No yes man. You want accountability. And
yeah,
and continue to grow in yourself. You know what I'm saying? And these things are vital to mental health. These things are vital to physical health. Because one thing always leads to another. So, I want to personally say I'm proud of you, man, and I can't wait to hear whatever your goal weight is. You don't have to close that. That's personal stuff. I want you to hit it, surpass it, and be more of an inspiration to everybody that may see this later. And we'll do a part 2, man, when you're down to your goal weight. You know what I'm saying? And you can eat a snack and not feel bad about it. You feel me?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to go ahead.
I wanted to add this, like, now that you say that, and I'm sure maybe some might not agree, but I feel like, if you want to lose weight or something like that, man, like, you don't have to go off the deep end, man. Like,
Right.
you don't have to go cold turkey.
Right.
I don't that didn't work for me. And just, like, taking away salt and, like, some lamb chicken and broccoli every single day, and, like,
Do what
don't,
works for you.
if that's not gonna work for you, don't do it, because you're just literally setting up for failure.
Yeah. Take care of yourself the way that you
Take
need
yourself,
to take care
man. Make better choices, and if you didn't make that good of a choice today, and tomorrow you have the ability to make a better choice,
Right.
do it, man. And hey, man, you want to take whatever, man, you want to have that donut, man, do it, man. Just remember, man, you might have to walk a little more.
There's consequences to all your actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Make better choices, because one thing that I'm learning now, right, is like I'm making better choices, right? Like, okay, cool, the weight's falling off, but now then we step it up, right? There's levels. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm making better choices. Now it's about whether it be portion control. Now we're talking about cholesterol.
Right.
We're talking about sugar.
Salt intake, those things.
Salt intake. That's when, like, yeah, like, I'm literally, like, I'm learning every day. I'm not pushing myself to just do everything at once, because when you do everything at once, that's when you just fall apart.
Yeah, for sure.
And hey, if you're built like that, then cool. If you're not built like that, that's cool too, man.
Yeah, take your time and be you. Do what's best for you, man. Well, man, I want to thank you, man, my guest, DJ Lnino, for coming on. Make sure you follow him at DJ Lnino online. Follow me online at David Rush Speaks. Make sure you go shop at Winsonly Lifestyle. Get you an Every Day is a Win sweater, t-shirt, hat, We got the duffel bag, well, the tote bag, really. And we even got the Wins Only gaming mouse pads. A lot of the kids like, if you got a gamer, go get you a Wins Only, because if they're winning, if they losing, don't get it for them. But maybe if you get it for them, they'll start to win, right? So it's been your boy David Rush for another episode of Winsonly Lifestyle, the podcast. I almost forgot the name of my own podcast. Winsonly Lifestyle, the podcast, where every day is a win. DJ Lnino, thank you one more time for joining me, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast, man. Check us out. Listen to the first season is online. Season 2 is out, and this is season 3. So this will be up pretty soon, man. Thank you to all my subscribers. I love you guys. And until next time, as always, it's only peace and love, y'all.